Hey, this is Russell, back again with today's episode for this. It's a post commentary for Civ 5, right where we left off. We're in the middle of taking over all of Greece. We have advanced into Sparta via diplomacy, actually. They surrendered Spartan to us because we're winning. Sparta, as in like the north right now, of course. We'll go back eventually in this campaign and rename them to slightly more accurate uh, city name positions. And then we took over Athens militarily. So yeah, we're looking goody good. We upgraded those dudes to pikemen. It's a decent move, although at this point in the game it's a little. Yeah, I mean it's a decent move. They don't have anything that can really fight pikemen, but they also don't have things that can really fight composite bowmen either. That's why we're making such good progress. We have a great general now, who's moving out there. We also have our cataphracts and spearmen dealing with these barbarians, because eventually we're going to want to start expanding into here, start building cities. It's a very, very good place to build cities in, and not so much fun to fight in. So the more quickly I can go ahead and occupy this land, the better. There's just so many forests, so many hills and mountains and stuff. It's not really going to be a fun place to invade. So, I mean, of course, the AIs will start probably chopping forests if they were to settle there, but still, um, yeah, making it to, invading that area of the map, it would be pretty hard. So we're not going to let the AI build there. Instead, we're going to be the first to build there. And we'll be focusing on that in a bit. But first we have to clear out the barbarians, of course. We have to finish our war with the Greeks, and then we have to stabilize our happiness, because right now we only have 3 happiness, and we're going to need a little more happiness after the war in order to make sure that, we can be happy. And every city costs a few happiness. It's offset by our liberty tree quite a bit, because, as we build these cities, I think it's like city connections for liberty tree, I forget, but there are ways to get happiness per city, so that's good. And it's offset by the tradition tree too, because we also get a little bit of happiness for people in the capital, I guess. So yeah, that's why it's nice going both tradition and liberty. You see me refusing that there because we're about to take both of those cities anyways. So if if there was a way for them to surrender completely to us, we could accept it, but it's not a thing in this game. You have to conquer a civilization if you want to take them. And quite simply, at this point, we are able to finish them off, take their last 2 cities, faster than it would be to get one diplomatically and then wait for the truce to expire and then get the other one. So yeah, I'm working on the Bobador. I'm prioritizing that over the Hagia Sophia. I always do, because you get more spread religions that way. You would only really prioritize the Hagia Sophia if you haven't unlocked all of your what's the word I'm looking for? Religion options yet. But other than that, it's usually better to just go for the Bobador. Again, you get more spread religions, more missionaries and stuff. So yeah, we got these guys bombarding over here. Our archers are advancing, and they've encountered a spearman. We're gonna start moving those guys down. We don't have enough troops to just sit there right now and make sure that they don't spawn. Eventually, it would be nice to have enough troops in that area so that we could. I don't know the term for it. I do know the term for it, but the term is escaping me. When you keep open the fog of war so that the barbarians won't spawn. If you have sight of a tile, barbarians won't spawn in that tile. Or at least they won't spawn, a new encampment won't spawn, that's what I should be saying. So yeah, things are looking pretty good. We're advancing up our pikemen now, and they can take a bit more of a hit because we've upgraded them to pikemen. So there isn't too much to worry about. They can only do so much damage while our dudes are approaching. And it does help that they're in a forest right now too. We do have our general here, which is giving us a little bit of a combat bonus for all our dudes. And we're about to take the city of Corinth, but we can't take it quite this turn. We got our general there. Our composite bowman's just going to take a turn to heal. And our next cataphract unit is moving out. So we have been able to take quite a bit advantage of the Byzantine special units. The cataphracts more so just for fighting barbarians, but the dromans we've used quite a bit for bombarding these couple of cities. And Argos we had pretty much down to like bottom health before this. Colossus was built by the Romans. The Colossus is a wonderful wonder, but it's very hard to get it, considering not if you wanted to go for it, you could get it quite easily. But you know, it's hard to get considering like all the other wonders that are better that you want to get before it. Usually it's hard to find a time to build the Colossus. That's the way I should put it. And yeah, we've taken over the last province of Greece. You have destroyed me, he says. And yeah, so we're looking pretty good. We're expanding everywhere we can, of course, and now we're just going to pretty much sit there. Hagia Sophia will take a little while to build there, but you know, it's worth trying to get it at least. Again, it's more of a priority to get the Providor. We are looking at getting Lighthouse there. Smart choice, actually. The Lighthouse, there's a lot of ocean tiles here. And not a lot of actual land tiles. You may ask why I didn't burn Argos. We can still turn Argos into a really good city. I think some players would have burned it down. I really don't like burning down cities unless they're in like the worst of locations possible. Most cities you can turn into a decent city through trade routes or buildings. I've turned cities where almost entirely they're made of like desert tiles that I built there just for like getting oil. And I've turned them into good cities with factions that don't get bonuses on the desert, mind you. You know, I've turned them into really good cities using just an internal trade route and purchasing buildings. So you can always turn any city into being a good city. There's the whole -1 unhappiness thing for the tradition tree. So that's going to help us get to the spot where we will be able to start building more cities. And we're actually already looking pretty good right now. We have to save up a little bit of money, but we're making a lot of money right now. We have to save up money to purchase the courthouses so that we don't get unhappiness from our new cities. And we're starting to move our troops around. We're going to move a couple of them to borders. We're using the ships to do a little bit of exploring right now. And of course we're going to move some of the troops to get rid of the barbarians in the places that we want to settle. A lot of the troops are just healing right now though. So yeah, the cataphracts are moving in, making sure you know, we're making progress and all. And we've taken over the barbarian encampment. Good for us. This new ship we don't actually need for exploring right now. We already explored like around the Black Sea, so we got pretty decent vision there. We aren't going to get much more vision. And I believe we've already... I'm not sure if we met the Huns, and I'm not sure if we have the Huns in this game too, actually. But yeah, other than the Huns, I don't think there'd be anyone else settled in that area. So yeah, right now, anyone who will be able to discover would either be from getting maybe like a cav unit to go north, or, you know, ships to sail around the Mediterranean. And yeah, of course, we're trying to move as far this way as possible for now, seeing what we can clear out. Unfortunately, that horseman spawned, and our troops are still quite far away. Not able to do too much about it at the moment. There is a Venetian Spearmen, but it doesn't look like they are prioritizing attacking them. And why would they? You know, the barbarians are not in their land. They're going for my land. Unfortunate. They might pillage a tile. Of course, they're going to go for that worker. We'll see, you know, what they can do. And course, we're going to move that worker back. Make sure these guys don't get my dudes. Of course, next turn we'll actually be able to hit them hard and get rid of them. The Venetians are kind of just hanging out on the edge of our civilization right now. The Venetians are never really much of a threat militarily. You know, they don't really seem to do a lot of expansion like you'd expect them to. Like, I would kind of expect them to get, like, Merchants of Venice to capture all those, like, city-states, like, north of us and stuff like that. But the AI Venice, I've never really been impressed with an AI Venice game. They don't really seem to expand enough. They don't do what they need to do. It feels like a Venice game could become like very strong if you went like really early military and like took over like one of the civs next to you so that you could actually expand to be big. But I never see the AI do that. Like, you know, right now they're right next to the Romans. And sure, they get like some like special units in the beginning and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you could still beat them. At the same time, you have like I don't know, the Germans north of you and stuff like that. So if you just let those people settle cities around you and you just go to war and puppet all of them, you know, you'll have a lot of cities to purchase buildings in. You won't be sitting on your butt with tons of money that you're not spending. So I know it just seems like I just feel like the AI at Venice could be much better. I've never really been impressed by it, and it's a little bit of a disappointment, but oh well. So we got Genghis Khan has declared war on Bucharest.
Education.
And yeah, pretty fun stuff. Got our Droman going and shooting stuff. And we got our Cataphract going out, exploring. Yeah. Our archer dude fortifying. I'd wonder if you guys would be interested in another campaign on this map. I played multiple campaigns on this map already. Next playthrough I'm not going to be playing on this map, but any subsequent playthrough I wouldn't be like close-minded to playing on this map. I love this map a lot. It's probably my favorite Civ map if you haven't figured that out already. And my second favorite Civ map you'll probably see next game. Disadvantage for you guys watching me play this is because I've played this map before. You know, its exploration is a little less important, and you know, things like that. So I don't know. It's like, you know, on one hand, I could go with like a new map gen or map generator that you guys haven't seen before, or there's even some maps that are quite random, but they're still like, you know, generated interestingly that are pretty interesting. You know, things I've played before in the past. Yeah, we'll see. So, on the news of life side, I have a second monitor that I'm playing around with now. Courtesy of my work, they bought a monitor for me, so that's pretty cool. It makes recording a good bit easier. Like right now I'm watching this on one screen while my recording software is open on the other. I'd always have like this like fear in the back of my mind, like, am I still recording, or is there something like, you know, I can see like the audio right here on my right now, which is very relieving because, like, you know, I'd be like worried before about, is it picking up this sound, is it not picking up my voice properly, but I can see that it's clearly picking up my voice. So it's nice having two screens for recording purposes. Hilariously, they're not actually super useful for work. I mean, it is somewhat useful too, for work to just have another screen, I guess. More so, it just lets me watch like a movie on like the slow hours while I'm doing my work usually. But yeah, pretty good stuff. So we got these guys going up here. They're gonna consider building a mine, but I guess they're gonna build a trade post maybe, or maybe a mine. Kind of torn between that. There we go, a mine. I don't know if I'd go with a mine now. Maybe I would have just gone for a trade post. We'll see. Always important to switch to default focus when you purchase a city, because it always starts on gold focus. Not purchase a city, switch a city from puppet to whatchamacallit, regular focus. And yeah, Argos is the only city that needs to have the courthouse purchased. And once it is, you know, I'm sitting on 13 happiness right now. Things are looking good. More cities can definitely be made after the Robador is made. Spreading my religion, though, is going to be a little bit of a priority, as, you know, I'll be able to get money from my religion, which is important, as well as, you know, just purchase my pagodas and stuff in all the cities, and so on and so forth. We've done a pretty decent job at spreading our religion already. It's in most, if not all, of our cities at this point. Yeah, I think it's in all our cities, but yeah. It's spreading it outside and making sure it's like the dominant religion on the map is very useful. If you can spread it to enough places, you get to a point where, you know, it's, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, in the late game, it gets really good for you, because you're not only collecting, like, tithe and stuff from all these other cities, but, you're also just, like, gonna get huge bonuses in the World Congress, especially if you make things like World Religion and stuff like that. So it's really useful to be competitive religion, so long as it's never an expense and always a boon to your empire. Well, it becomes an issue when, you know, you invest into a religion that doesn't do enough for you. So the reason why the Mayans are here, this needs to be talked about, is because, like I said, I don't have all the DLC. So it just chooses a random civ for Babylon. And it just happened to choose the Mayans this time around. I've had some pretty wonky things happen on this map, especially considered I just got God and Kings and I've only been playing on Brave New World. Usually some other civilization occupies this area with Byzantines. So yeah, it's pretty cool playing as the Byzantines in the Byzantine true starting location. I think that is the only civilization that is going to slightly break our immersion, the Mayans. And a little bit of a spoiler, I don't think they do very well. So I don't know if they're going to be down to the end of the game, or if they're just going to be like barely there at the end of the game, or what. But yeah, they don't do super well. And that's sad, considering how awesome their starting location is, you know. They actually end up being at a pretty decent starting location, because no one's going to really settle that desert to their south unless they make an effort to, because of how useless that desert is. And so you have a pretty good starting location, and you're only really going to get enemies from two sides, really, like the Assyrians and the Persians. The Arabians are just too far away to deal with, and Arabians can be like a late game conquest, as well as like the Egyptians and stuff like that. So really, that whole side of the map is really strong to be in. Of course, we were in a pretty good spot because we only started next to one threat, that being the Greeks, and then we have like a city-state buffer to our north, I guess you could call it, and then to our east we have you know, all that land we can settle to get close to everyone near us. So yeah, we are going to pop the Robador next turn, and we're going to get all of those missionaries and start being able to spread religion. Venice doesn't have religion, Rome doesn't have a religion, so we can really expand that way into all of like the other places. You can see that's what my intention is. So we got 2 missionaries going out there, got 1 missionary heading a little more north, and we have encountered the Carthaginians. Carthaginians are someone I want to play with on an unexplored or random map more so than, you know, civilizations like, you know, I feel like with Spain and Constantinople and like those civs are going to be more fun on like these maps where, you know, it's like Europe or world map or stuff like that. But I feel like Carthage could be really fun on like a random map where you don't know like what the world is outside. I don't know, it's just like the feeling that I get. So looks like I'm queuing up the Eknor Watt there. I'm going to queue the stoneworks just for a little bit of extra happiness. And I'm getting to the point where I'm considering settling all these cities now. You can see I'm looking around at cities which I want to settle, places I'm considering settling, and it looks like I'm making the switch now actually. I'm going to be going for settlers, but I'm going to build the stoneworks first. And you can see I was counting how many cities I can build in that area. Honestly, I could just keep building cities, you know, and expanding and all of that. You notice I queued up like 5 or so settlers, but then I only have like 16 happiness. So I plan on building more happiness buildings and things of that sort as I'm expanding. And you know, I'm making a lot of money right now too. Of course, I still need to get that courthouse. But worst case scenario, I should be able to just like purchase happiness buildings. Also, I should be able to start like working the luxury resources almost immediately that I will be settling next to. Just because, you know, I do have a very strong workforce, and I do have both the Liberty bonus and the Pyramids bonus for being able to build improve tiles really fast. That comes in handy throughout the whole game, by the way. The whole building tiles really fast thing. Unfortunately, our boat isn't going to be able to explore forever. As you can see, it's getting lower and lower health as it goes because it's being shot at by barbarians. And so it's not going to be able to explore the whole ocean, sadly. Like right now, I think it just ended next to an axe thrower, and that's like the worst thing. Although I think he was an encampment, I don't know, so we'll see if he even attacks or not. And we got these guys building mines. Makes sense. I mean, I'm kind of leaning towards building trade posts instead if I was to do it now. There is the Spanish. They are awesome. I like them a lot as a faction. They're a new faction, and I've only, like, you know, just started really messing around with them. Of course, I've recorded subsequent playthrough after this one, playing as Spain. So yeah, they're pretty fun to play with. I'll just leave it at that for now. So we got these guys running in. We see a worker able to be captured by those guys there. It probably comes from either the Assyrians, or most likely the Assyrians, possibly the Mongolians, but most likely the Assyrians. And yeah, Lighthouse. Or workboat, or no, it looks like we're purchasing the workboat, but we're getting the Lighthouse. And that's good, going to be good for our happiness, because, you know, it's a unique luxury that we haven't introduced to our system yet. So once we get it, we'll get an additional 4 happiness. We can really build a lot of cities right now. And then we have a lot of room to grow our pop too. All really good stuff. And we have another social policy. I think we'll be able to finish the tradition tree now if I've been keeping track of it correctly. Yeah, things are looking good. We have all of our yields pretty far up. Faith is coming in pretty hot. We got a lot of gold coming in, a decent amount of science. It could be better, but we haven't really been prioritizing the science buildings too heavily as we could be. But at this point in the game, there's not much of a need to, especially on Prince difficulty. Maybe you want to focus it down a little more on a higher difficulty to science stuff. But we have carved out probably one of the strong, well, if you look at the score as a rating, we have like almost double the score of almost all the other top players. And yeah, so I'm not too worried at this point. This is the point where we really begin to snowball. Early Conquest does help you snowball a lot. It's always worth investing into early Conquest. It's better if someone attacks you and you respond to it, but ultimately if people aren't really attacking you, you should really take initiative to go and attack other people in the early game, because it does snowball into a strong late game. Again, so long as you're doing it as a way that's not going to be expensive for you. Like if you notice, I had to like queue up a few units just for a little while to win that war, and I pushed through and won the war. You know, it barely cost me anything, and I gained a ton out of it. I gained 4 extra cities. So, not the best of cities, but still they're cities. And they'll be cities of mine for the rest of the game. And you know, it's giving me science. If anything else, you know, I'm getting +2 science per city connection. So just to put that in perspective, how Messenger of the Gods really stacks up. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cities, so that's an extra 20 science a turn. So yeah, that's like, I think almost a little less than a fifth of my science right now. So yeah, Messenger of the Gods really helps you a lot, and it lets you focus on, at least for a little bit, other things besides science buildings. You don't really have to go hard for science buildings when, you know, they're, whatchamacallit. Unfortunately, we did lose that missionary, but we are converting stuff, and it's happening. And yeah, got people moving. We're working on Hagia Sophia. The benefit of having a great prophet is he converts a few less times, but his conversion is complete. Like if he gets popped near a city, he just basically converts the city no matter what. So very useful to have a great prophet. We are going to be a little bit competitive in this area with another religion that has been founded kind of in this area. So it will be useful to have a great prophet, but if we don't have a great prophet, we're going to have to purchase missionaries to make sure our religion spreads to our cities. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Pretty much the end of the vid. So you guys have a good one. Bye.
Like, favorite, and subscribe if you guys want to see more. Always interested in your feedback down in the comment section. You guys have a good one. God bless.